I couldn't pay rent. The words echoed in my head like a constant alarm I couldn't silence. Every time I opened my refrigerator and saw the empty shelves, every time I checked my bank account with trembling hands, every time I heard the faint creak of the hallway steps outside my apartment, my heart sank. Rent was due, and I had nothing left to give. My name is Rachel Miller, 28 years old, born and raised in a small town in Ohio, but now living in Chicago chasing dreams that seemed to run faster than I ever could. I had come here with big plans of becoming a designer, working in the fashion district, and carving out a name for myself. Instead, I found myself juggling part-time jobs, making lattes by day and waitressing by night, all while sketching designs that never seemed to leave my notebook. The pandemic had hit me hard, like so many others. One job cut my hours, the other closed down completely for months. I scrambled, took online gigs, even tried selling handmade jewelry on Etsy, but it barely covered groceries. And now, as the first week of the month rolled around, the ugly truth stared me down. I was nearly $900 short on rent. I sat on the couch in my dimly lit apartment, a small studio with peeling paint near the windows and a faucet that dripped endlessly in the kitchen sink. My landlord, Mr. Carter, was strict about payments. He wasn't cruel, but he wasn't soft either. He owned several properties around the city, and though he kept everything running well, he made it clear. Rent was rent, business was business. So when I heard the knock at my door one evening, my chest tightened. It was too early for him to be collecting in person, wasn't it? I hesitated, glanced around my apartment like I might find an answer hiding in the shadows, then opened the door. It was Mr. Carter. But he wasn't alone. Behind him stood two men I didn't recognize, both carrying folders under their arms, dressed neatly, like professionals. "Rachel," Mr. Carter said, his deep voice steady, "we need to talk." My throat tightened. I swallowed hard. "Mr. Carter, I know I'm behind, but I just need a little more time. Please." He raised his hand gently, surprising me. "Relax. We're not here to throw you out. May we come in?" Against the pounding in my chest, I stepped aside and let them in. The two men followed, looking around my tiny apartment with curious eyes, not judgmental but observant, as though they were scanning for something deeper. I offered them the only 3 chairs I had, one at the small table, the couch, and a stool. Mr. Carter sat on the couch, the others spread out. The room felt smaller than ever with their presence. "I know you've been struggling," Mr. Carter began, leaning forward. "I've seen it before. Good tenants falling behind. Not because they're careless, but because life hits them harder than expected." I blinked at him. This was not the man I was used to. Usually he kept things short, to the point. Rent due, repairs scheduled, keys exchanged. Nothing more. I just lost so many hours at work," I whispered. "I've tried everything, I swear." One of the men, a tall African-American gentleman with kind eyes, spoke up. "Rachel, my name is Thomas. I work with the Community Assistance Program. Mr. Carter reached out to us after noticing some of his tenants falling behind." The other man nodded. "I'm David. I help manage local grants and emergency funds. We've partnered with landlords to make sure people don't lose their homes during times like this." I stared, confused. My landlord had done this? Wait, you called them? For me. Mr. Carter shifted in his seat, almost uncomfortably. "Look, Rachel, I've been a landlord for over 20 years. I've seen people go under because they had no support. I'm not going to pretend I can fix everything, but if I can connect tenants with resources, maybe it helps. I don't want good people losing their homes." Tears burned at the corners of my eyes. I hadn't expected kindness, not from him, not like this. Thomas opened his folder, sliding a few papers toward me. "There are emergency rental assistance programs funded through the city. We can help you apply, and in most cases, it covers a few months of rent. That buys you time to get back on your feet." David added, "And if you're interested, we also work with local job placement groups. You've got skills beyond waitressing, right? We can connect you with opportunities that match your background." I blinked at them, speechless. For weeks I had been carrying the crushing weight of fear and shame, thinking eviction was inevitable. And here they were, not to throw me out, but to hold me up. I laughed nervously through the tears. I don't know what to say. I thought you were here to evict you. Mr. Carter finished for me. Rachel, if eviction was the only answer, I wouldn't have brought them. You're trying. I can see that. And that matters. The next hour was a whirlwind. They guided me through forms, explained timelines, and showed me proof of other tenants who had been helped. I learned that Mr. Carter had been quietly reaching out to various programs, trying to find solutions for tenants instead of kicking them out. When they finally left, my tiny apartment felt brighter somehow, like a weight had lifted. Mr. Carter lingered at the door before stepping out. You've got potential, Rachel, he said softly. Don't let this moment define you. Use it. Get back up. I nodded, tears slipping down my cheeks. Thank you. Really, I'll make this count. That night, I couldn't sleep. But for the first time in weeks, it wasn't because of fear. It was because of hope. Over the next few weeks, everything shifted. Thomas and David became familiar faces, checking in, helping me navigate not just rent relief, but job applications. One of the programs connected me with a small design company looking for part-time, help with sketches and social media. It wasn't full-time yet, but it was in my field, finally a step toward my dream. And as the months passed, my rent was covered through assistance, my hours increased at the design company, and eventually I could pay on my own again. The memory of that night never left me. The knock on my door had felt like doom, but it had been the beginning of a lifeline. My landlord had arrived with friends, but they weren't there to take. They were there to give. And in that moment, I learned that sometimes help comes from the most unexpected places. I couldn't pay rent, but I didn't lose my home. And more importantly, I didn't lose myself.